Okay, it's 6:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to start by welcoming all our guests. We have quite a few tonight. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Ty,
I'll second.
second by Naomi. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Nobody signed the motion form. The next item up is the approval of consent agenda, which consists of the regular open session minutes from last meeting.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion from Ty. Second from Lori. All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0, motion carries. Do we have any questions about bills on approval of transfer and payment of bills? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer and payment of bills.
Motion from Naomi,
Second.
second from Ty. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. The organization of the board. First item on that is certification of the election results.
You have all of the election results are in your folder. So we just need a motion and second and a vote to approve, to certify the election results.
I'll make a motion to certify election results.
Motion from Lori,
Second.
second from Ty. All in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Next item is swearing in of directors. Okay. I just wanted to step up. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Hannah Swan,
Do solemnly swear that I am at least 24 years of age,
do solemnly swear that I'm at least 24 years of age,
that I'm a citizen of the United States
that I'm a citizen of the United States,
and a resident taxpayer of the Osage County School District
and a resident taxpayer of the Osage County School District
in Osage County in the state of Missouri,
in Osage County in the state of Missouri,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
and that I will abide by and uphold the Osage County R2 School District Board Member Code of Ethics,
I will abide by the Osage County School Board Code of Ethics,
and will faithfully demean myself in office.
and will faithfully demean myself in office.
Congratulations. Mark. I, say your name,
I, Mark Baker,
do solemnly swear that I am at least 24 years of age,
do solemnly swear that I'm of at least 24 years of age,
that I am a citizen of the United States and a resident taxpayer of the Osage County R2 School District,
that I am a citizen of the United States and a resident taxpayer of the Osage County School District,
in Osage County
in Osage County,
in the state of Missouri,
in the state of Missouri,
and that I will support the constitutions of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
and that I will abide by and uphold
and I will abide by and uphold.
the Osage County R2 School District Board Member Code of Ethics,
I will abide by and uphold the Osage County R2 School District Board Member Code of Ethics,
and will faithfully demean myself in office.
and will faithfully demean myself in office.
Congratulations. And your signature. Congratulations. Okay, we're at the point of election of officers. With that, I'll turn the meeting over to the superintendent.
At this time, we will accept nominations for the office of President of the Osage County R2 School Board.
I nominate Dennis Gravadoni.
We have a nomination for Dennis Cavadoni.
I'll second.
I don't think you have to.
You don't have to second on the
No.
Any other nominations?
I nominate Sean Strong.
We have a nomination for Sean Strong. Any other nominations?
I make a motion that we close nominations.
Okay, the motion has been made to close nominations. We will now vote. All those in favor of Dennis Cravadoni as president of the school board, please raise your right hand. 4. All those in favor of Sean Strong as president of the Osage County R2 School Board, please raise your right hand. 2. At this time, Dennis, I will turn the meeting back over to you as president of the board.
Thank you. Okay, nominations are now open for the position of vice president of the board.
I nominate Lori Greer.
Are there any further nominations?
I make a motion to close nominations then.
The nominations are closed. Is there a motion or do
I can't remember what.
you like Lori by acclamation?
There we go. That's what I was trying to think of what it was. I make a motion to elect Lori by acclamation. Yeah. Acclamation. There we go. Big word for me.
You'll get it. Okay, nominations are now open for secretary of the board.
I'll nominate Ty Kramer.
I have a motion to nominate Ty as secretary of the board. Are there any other nominations? No other nominations? Okay. We have a motion to suspend nominations and elect Ty based on acclamation.
I move we suspend nominations and accept Ty by acclamation.
I got everybody saying it wrong now.
They have to get it every year too, so. Okay, nominations are open for treasurer.
I nominate Naomi for treasurer.
Do we have any further nominations?
I nominate Lon Swan.
Okay, we have a nomination for honors. Are there any other further nominations? Do we have a motion to close nominations?
I make a motion to close nominations.
Motion is made to close nominations. We now go to votes. Those in favor of Naomi for treasurer, raise your right hand. Three. Those nominating Hannah Swan. 4. Thomas One is treasurer. Last item of election of officers is appointment of custodian of records. This is an annual appointment and the superintendent is by law becomes custodian of records. So if I have a motion to that effect.
Yeah, I nominate Superintendent Dina Smith as the custodian of records.
Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Okay, now we'll move on to reports. First report is the elementary report.
Mrs. Kingsley isn't able to be here tonight. You do have your report in her folder. Currently, our enrollment is sitting at 304, so we consistently inched our way up a little bit throughout the entire year. I can also tell you that they are currently in the midst of math testing. Everything seems to be going well so far. Again, a big thank you to Eric for making sure all of our technology was up and running and ready to go for that. Their committee meetings, they've been working hard on making sure that they get some things in place for next year. And again, you can read about a lot of that in her report in your folder. But we did have a good PD day 2 weeks ago, the 12th, I think. And one of the things the elementary did was participated in professional development for phonemic awareness. And that has really been a focus for them, is trying to make sure that they get that phonics piece back into the instructional process. And so they did do some PD on that Monday as well. Mrs. Kingsley has worked extremely hard on a master schedule for next year, trying to make sure that we have a place for all of the interventions that we want to do, Title I, as well as just in-class interventions. I'm trying to make sure we have a place for 5th grade and 6th grade band both, as well as all of our special classes. She has sought a lot of input from teachers and trying to make sure that that schedule is going to work for everyone. I think they're at a point where they've almost got it finalized, with the goal to finalize it by the end of April. And then you'll see one of the exciting things is when we did our last evaluate testing, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade math increased by 9%, 10%, 11% respectively. And then 2nd grade ELA increased by 14%. So that was just on the last assessment as well. So just some really good things going on at the elementary. Again, if you have any questions for Mrs. Kingsley, I'll be happy to convey those to her and get back with a response.
Thank you. Moving on to the middle school, high school report.
Enrollment stayed the same, 320 is where we're at. We're still the same as our virtual students. Discipline 10 total discipline referrals in the last month. March 24th, we had 18 students inducted to the NJA test. That was held right here in the field house. Ms. Walsh did a very nice job with that induction ceremony. March 30th, the juniors took the ACT over at the activity center. Big thank you to Andrew Medley and Joyce Everett. They went over to help administer that day. Ms. Wolf was sick that morning, and so those two stepped up to make sure we got that test administered correctly. We had Team Kid and Cole come in. Cole came in on the 31st as for the 7th grade students, and Team Kid came in on April 6th. We did both of those in the middle school basement. We did for our Cole presentations, and then for Team Kid we went up to the field house and basically split the field house in two. Cope, they used the foyer and half the gymnasium. Normally that's something we do over Community Christian Church. We just brought them on campus this year and took them downstairs so that we keep our students here. It was a very good presentation as always. April 12th, on top of our regular PD that we normally do, the teaching staff also participated in a Zoom with David Siebold. He is he's a teacher, has been in the profession for a long time. The main professional development topic was the importance of laughter in the classroom. The importance of making the students feel comfortable, to engage with students with laughter, and engage with students getting into academic learning after that laughter takes place. April 14th, NHS and Tri-M had their inductions. I will have the final numbers on next month's board report for that, who was inducted, but that was for the 2020 and 2021 school year, since we did not have a NHS induction or Tri-M induction during last year with COVID. April 16th and 17th is spring play. We had a all-school presentation at 1:30 last Friday, and then they had a play open to the public at 7 on Friday night and 7 on Saturday night. Had really good turnout, really good spring plays. If you got a chance to go over and see it, there's 2 plays that Jesse had put on this year. Drama Club worked really hard to get those on. One had more of a comedic type feel to it, and the other one was more of a message, moral message.
Yeah, I went Saturday night, and so it was good.
It was good.
Make sure you let him know that. I said it was
I'm
good.
glad they had it.
Yeah, it was good. The kids did a really good job, and he did a good. They really respect him, and he did a good job, even though he won't take credit for it.
Don't let him take credit for it.
Jesse won't. They tried to give Jesse credit there at the end, and he was like, "No, But
No, he did a great job.
they did a great. I enjoyed both plays.
Our kids really enjoy the drama club.
Yeah.
A lot of kids that get involved with that. I'm going to get into our evaluate growth and patterns through middle school math and ELA. We saw growth quite a bit through there. So when I have September, November, January tests together, they are testing over the same strands, over the same standards. So that's why those particular months are together. So you're going to see the same months compared to each other. We had 22% growth with the first group of standards, and then a 21% growth with the second group of standards in our middle school math. We had a 4% and 1% growth with our middle school ELA. And then getting into our high school ELA for our freshmen, it should be freshmen, sophomores, and freshmen and freshmen. For our freshmen, the first standard set, we had a 1% growth. We actually had a slight decline in the second standard set. I haven't figured out exactly why that has happened yet. But that is something we're working on. I'm working with Ms. Pike to figure out what exactly happened during those last couple of months. And then for our sophomores, that would be with Mr. Fick. We had 2% growth in the first standard set, and for the second standard set, we had 3% growth. Algebra 1, we had 3% growth in the first standard set. She was finishing up evaluate testing last Friday. We had some students that are going in, and just extended time to get that evaluate test done. So we don't have the final results for that second set of those standards. PLC for the year, to just summarize how everything went and what our groups did. Anti-drug and bullying team. We had a seatbelt check scheduled for the 30th at 7:15.
What is PLC?
Professional learning community.
Okay, thank you.
And then for the docudrama, that has been completed and it was filmed on the 31st and 1st. Our plan is to show that Friday, this Friday in the afternoon. It was supposed to be done last Friday, but we had to play going on. At that time, I wasn't going to take an entire day of academic learning for that kind of thing. So we're going to show that this Friday after we get done with our state testing in the morning. Data team, they've compiled attendance data twice per quarter. They assessed discipline referrals, assessed DNF grade list twice per quarter, provided RTI teams for those who need intervention, offer data collection assistance for other PLC groups. So the data team and the RTI team are two teams that really work close hand in hand together. So you might see some things that are overlapping in those two. Safety team completed the fire, earthquake, and intruder drills inside and outside threats, tornado drills to ensure student safety, reviewed the drills after each drill, things we need to fix, things we need to make sure we get right the next time. Clarified and reorganized the tornado room assignments. So when we have tornado drill, high school and middle school, everybody comes down to the middle school. And then also this year, we're bringing some of those elementary students over. They're just coming right underneath the crosswalk, if you will, underneath that concrete barrier on top there. So they have to organize all of that and make sure that we have the emergency buckets up to date in all the classrooms. RTI team, emails were sent out to teachers that were, they asked about students who may be at risk, had extended absences not related to COVID, just aren't getting certain concepts and things like that. The main goal behind the RTI team at that point in time was to make sure that those students realize that there are tutoring options available. There's different options for them to get caught back up. Riley Lynn became a part of the team as she completed her master's in administration and utilized the RTI program for her list of students in need. Mr. Fick acquired several books, and these were used to address several students' needs and concerns, especially when it came to mental health and how that affects school. End of the year events, we started map testing today. We're doing that in the library. That will continue on through the rest of this week. I say map testing, end of the year testing, EOCs for today. And then into a little bit of May. Of course, we have prom, senior trips, senior awards, baccalaureate, senior breakfast, walk the halls, graduation, and 8th grade graduation coming up. And then also to add in there, May 18th will be our sophomore and junior academic award night. Does anyone have any questions about middle school, high school? Things are going on? I'm going to turn over to Coach Kraus for athletics.
Thank you.
As far as athletics go, junior high volleyball, they finished up with a final record of 4-5. Baseball's currently going on. It's nice to see you get some of those spring sports back. They're actually 8-4 right now. This last weekend, they got first place in one tournament. It's always nice to win your own tournament, so I was happy to see that. For track, meets as of April 14th, we've had the junior high Lynn Quad, the Russellville Open, the junior high 5-way invitational, Lynn High School Invitational, junior high quad, and the Showman Conference meet. This Thursday, we have the junior high Lynn Invitational. For the high school Lynn Invitational, we hosted 18 schools and had over 440 athletes compete. For Lynn athletes, Zach Dodson tied for second in the pole vault, tied for fourth in the high jump, and was fifth in the 400-meter sprint. Trenton Burnett was seventh in the 1600-meter, seventh in the 800-meter, and seventh in the 3200-meter run. Myra Baker, Marta Houston, Ramsey Chapler, and Erica Platt were fourth in the 4x400, and Myra, Ramsey, Erica, and Ellie were third in the 4x8. And then Myra was third in the 800-meter run, and then Marley was tied fourth for the high jump. So, any questions of that?
There's a good crowd here yesterday for that track meet too.
It was. Yeah, we had the Osage Marys yesterday as well.
Thanks.
Superintendent report.
Some of mine is going to be repetitive, so I won't read over those necessarily. We did, again, it's that time of year where we have assessments going on. We got ACT, math, EOC, AP. So just a lot of assessment going on at this point in time. Again, some of this has already been talked about, so I won't go into it in great detail. But one thing I do want to give Mrs. Churchill a pat on the back for March 25th and 26th. She had cheer camp, and she had 38 kids who participated in cheer camp this year. There were local bodies everywhere. And then after cheer camp on Friday, they were invited, parents were invited to come in and watch the performance. So that was a fantastic turnout for cheer camp this year. And I think everybody had a really good time with that. We had greenhouse plant sales begin yesterday, and she still does have some plants available. So if anybody's interested in that, you can contact Megan Niederhelm. She'll be happy to sell you some of them, I am sure. Again, we had our district PDA on April 12th, and as Mr. Feigl mentioned, we had the teacher who's also a comedian. And, you know, at this time of year, it's just kind of nice to have a little comedic relief, but it also had a really good message about how to bring humor into the classroom and how impactful that can be for students. We did have a superintendent's advisory committee meeting on April 12th, and so that meeting went very well. And then just things going on facilities wise. Steve has replaced 5 toilets in the track and baseball bathrooms, so we're hoping that someone takes care of our,
The urinal in the the one in the middle wasn't having issues last night.
it's track, they want to run. So one of the air conditioning units in the high school that's in we call it the short hallway, but it's there by Jesse Fick's room, Riley Lynn's room. That unit is out, it's dead, cannot be repaired. So we are going to have to replace that unit. That's probably going to be around $4,000, but we're waiting on an estimate on that for sure. We repaired it last year. We repaired it at the beginning of this year, and it's just done. The architect company that we hired to do our facility walkthrough came in yesterday. They spent about 4 hours here yesterday doing a walkthrough. They will probably have to come back one other time to finish that review, and then they will get that report to us as well. Bunser was here yesterday to start the repair on some of the leaks on the elementary HVAC system. Again, that process isn't finished yet, but they did get a start on it. We're actually trying to find a time when it's best to do that because they have to take down the whole system and drain it, and fix the leaks and recharge it, make sure there's not any leaks. So just trying to get a time when that is going to work out the best is a bit of a challenge at this time of year. But we're still working on that as well. And again, mowing season has begun, and that keeps me very busy unless it snows. But otherwise, things seem to be moving along.
Thank you. Moving on to discussion and action items. First one is the parking lot presentation.
Okay, I'll introduce these young ladies to you. We have sophomore Marissa Gillick and Natalie Moore. They brought this to me a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We've worked our way up to the point now where they have a presentation for the school board.
These are all forms and information for the students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, paint your spot fundraiser.
Okay.
Yeah. The gist, next year we would like to offer the opportunity for juniors and seniors to be able to paint their own parking spot. Yes, this means that they can have their own custom parking spot. Here are some examples. So how it works, juniors and seniors only will pay for their parking permit with the school and then pay our class $25 to be able to paint their parking spot. And then the students will fill out a student contract and design request and give it to Mr. Firewall to be approved. And our goal is to do this before the end of the year, but before enrollment will work as well. The details. When? Our designated parking days will be August 17th to the 20th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Why? Our 4 objectives are to beautify the campus, build school spirit, create a tradition, and to support the cost of prom our senior trip. Each year, this fundraiser can be passed on to the upcoming junior class. The details. Rules and regulations will be set by admin to make sure that it's a clean and fun experience. At the end of the year, the junior class officers will paint over the spots with black paint to prepare them for the next year, and then the class would pay for the black paint and the paint rollers. The process. Step 1, purchase a student parking permit from the office and then purchase a painted parking spot space from the junior class. Step 2, submit a copy of your design to Mr. Feibel on the student contract. Step 3, once your design is reviewed, you will be notified. And step 4, you will attend one or more of the designated painting days and may only paint during these days and hours. So the paint requirements, the paint must be water-based exterior latex. No spray paint, reflective, or fluorescent paint is permitted, and you will provide your own paint, but people can share with others. Prohibited. No offensive language, pictures, or symbols. No negative or rude language. No gang-style tagging. No double meanings. You may include your name, but no one else's, and the nickname must be approved. Everything must follow all NR2 handbook guidelines. And then one last thing that we didn't, prohibited, okay. If you paint over any prohibited items in your space, you will paint over these parking spaces and may face disciplinary actions. You may forfeit your parking permit with every time. So one last thing that we didn't get put into our presentation is that we had another idea come up about painting coffins either around the parking lot or up and down the catwalk and down that sidewalk that connects the main building to the ag building. And we would sell those to businesses as ad space. And another idea, instead of like students having their own customized spot, it would just be Hopper with their own name in it. And then they could paint on the space, like we could paint like junior class 2023. So that was another idea that we had as well.
I like the initiative.
Yeah, that's very good. I do have a question though. So at the end of the year, who's going to go back and paint over that? Did you say that and I missed it?
Junior class officers.
Okay, so you're going to continue this process after you guys, the hope is to continue the process after you graduate, correct?
Yeah, and to just pass it on to each junior class.
Each junior class.
So just so I understand better myself, right now, does a student buy a parking spot?
They have a $2 deposit for their ticket that they, or their.
Hang tag?
thing,
Okay,
And they get the $2 back from the tag.
okay. Man, that's expensive.
So the money's going to go to your class.
That keeps them from fighting over spots in the morning.
That's true.
They get enough door dings and rear enders the
Hmm.
first week.
I like your idea.
What?
Mhm.
Yeah, they're on like those little like curved spots.
So this is open.
Since this does involve facility modification, if you will, I mean, I told them that it would have to have board approval. So that's what they're here for tonight is what we can do.
Yes. It's intimidating, I'm sure, to stand up in front of,
They were super
All of
thrilled
us.
when I told them that.
huh?
They were super thrilled when I told them they had. to
I
present
bet.
the board.
So no matter what we decide, I want to say you young ladies did a wonderful job presenting your idea here. And I do like your initiative and keep that in mind as you move forward with your life. Thank you.
Does anybody on the board support the program and want to make a motion to that effect?
I don't have a problem with it as long as the parking spaces are approved by the designs. That would be my only concern.
And then one thing that I know we both talked to the girls about when they came and presented it to me too was if at any time we see anything in a parking space that wasn't approved or that's inappropriate, it gets painted over, no questions asked.
It probably needs, once it's been decorated, it needs to stay that way.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that would be my other thing is once it's done, it's done. And then I would suggest that, I know you have certain dates here, but you're going to have, obviously, whether people can't make it, you're going to have some extra dates, I guess, to give people the
They
chance.
always talked about having some makeup days, inclement weather, rain, whatever, kept those days from being able to be used.
I make a motion to approve the reserve painted parking spaces.
I'll second.
Have a motion for Ty, second from Mark. Does anybody have any other comments?
I think it's a great idea. Like, show school spirit, and I've seen it done at other schools. And
They do the Rolla, but I don't think it's for a fundraiser, it's just they do the sidewalks.
yeah, my old high school does it, and it's
The junior class has some expenses, so they need some type of fundraiser to keep going for the trip and other activities. So with that in mind, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Motion carries.
Good job, girls.
Ladies, good job.
I expect your parking spaces to look really nice
Yeah.
since you brought this up.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the library program evaluation.
You do have a copy of this in your folder. Mr. Medley and Mrs. Baker, neither one could be here tonight, but it's just that time of year for this program evaluation. We do currently have 2 certified librarians. Mrs. Baker, of course, is in the elementary, and Mr. Medley is in the high school. Again, you can read through what their goals are and that kind of thing. But one of the things that I know that they have worked really hard on this year is not only have they worked really hard on making sure that they keep their book selection up to date and relevant for what kids want to read, but they've been pretty instrumental in helping us roll out our one-to-one initiative too. And so hats off to both of those individuals as they have helped us with that. I know Mr. Medley has been a huge help with that at the high school level, and then for Mrs. Baker at the elementary level, we've had such a sub shortage this year that she keeps getting called on to subs on too. But they both do a fantastic job for us. Again, you can read through their report yourself and see what their goals and objectives are. But that's just their program evaluation for this month.
Thank you. Technology program evaluation.
This year's been a big change in technology, just kind of like big changes. It's been everywhere, just a lot of adaptations, changes, and kind of trying different things and just kind of help the learning process go as our time in seat changes. So one of the biggest things is we got a lot of Chromebooks this year. Last year, about this time, in our middle school, high school, we had 2 carts of Chromebooks in the high school, 2 carts in the middle school that kind of rolled around during the day. And all the elementary classrooms, they had a few Chromebooks in each classroom. Now, every 7 through 12 student has their own Chromebook that they take home with them. And every 2nd through 6th grader has their own Chromebook. There's enough in each classroom to cover each student. They don't go home with them, but there's enough to cover each student. So between the 2 big purchases we made, we over doubled the amount of Chromebooks that we had. Last summer, we purchased 290 for the junior high and high school. Those came in late July, and I got those ready for the beginning of school. And then we ordered an additional 130 for elementary in September, and they arrived a day or 2 before Christmas break. So came in over the break and got those set up so they're ready when we came back in January. You can kind of see the picture in the report there of all the boxes that had unboxed, label, inventory, and like I said, that was a big project. Along to go with this Chromebooks, we started a new classroom management system, Go Guardian, which allows teachers to create classes, and then they can better monitor, see what their students are working on their screens, whether they're here or at home. So if they're teaching a remote class, some kids are at home, they can tell whether they're actually following along in class or just surfing YouTube sites and just kind of pretending along, so they can kind of tell what they're doing. So it's really helped, especially with kids being on quarantine or when we've been closed down for a little while. But that's worked pretty well for us. Also, last year we replaced some wireless access points in campus, and earlier this year we purchased more. They came in a few weeks ago and got some additional coverage to cover with all these new wireless devices, and saw the more devices we have, so we got better coverage and just kind of making it a little bit more robust, a little bit working better for all the new stuff that we have. With the new restrictions on audience sizes at events and stuff, we've live streamed a lot more events. We kind of started school board meetings back a long time ago, and kind of our big event kind of start live stream was the high school graduation. And then just all through the fall, kind of events were kind of closed down to the public, so we've been live streaming a lot more events, music programs, other special programs, and basketball games. You can kind of see some examples of kind of what we've done. There's a music program, and then also one of the basketball games. We had a stationary camera set up for most of the basketball games that I'd start and end the stream so that anybody could watch them. For districts, Misha had a rule that we couldn't broadcast our own games in any district or sectional permit. We couldn't broadcast them on our own. That had to go direct to Misha, where they had their own service that you could buy the games to stream from them. So we provided that service to them. And I created a feed, so I ran the camera back and forth, had the scoreboard in it, and tried to make it look as nice as I could. They're paying for a watch a game, try to make it look nice as I can. So there are quite a few purchases on that, especially for some of the kind of farther away teams. So, but that's kind of most of it. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff, but those are kind of some of the biggies that I've been working on this year. So, are there any questions?
No. Thank you for the job you do, Eric.
Yeah,
Thank you.
There's a lot of people appreciative of the live streaming of the games too, so
Mhm.
I know that it's kind of hard work and stuff, but people appreciate it. They told me a lot, but they were just glad they get on these watching games. So.
yeah, I think the concerts and stuff, a lot of grandparents that can't make it up, like my parents watched it, and they live in Cave, and they watched my daughter at one of them, so that's nice.
Yeah, so this has been a big learning experience for me, becoming a self-taught broadcast engineer. I think. So different iterations of equipment and techniques, and I'm starting to get got kind of heard the first few ones, but now I'm starting to get it nailed down a little bit better and trying to make steadily improve on it a little bit. So I would imagine in the future, even when we still do open it up to more spectators, there will still be events that we'll want to live stream regardless. That way people like grandparents and stuff who can't make it out, they can still watch events, or they can go back and watch, or in classrooms they can watch like evening Christmas programs during class time when it's appropriate. So.
Did you ever take advantage of other schools' game footage?
Yeah, that's
For scouting?
It's homework, right? Well, we expect this year to see a huge improvement then, if you've been doing it.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is MC policy updates.
A couple times a year, we typically get policy updates from Missouri Consultants for Education, and that's our school district policy provider. So the policy updates that we recently got are pretty minor. Policy 0311 just puts that statement in there that board meetings or board members may attend and participate in meetings either physically present or via electronic means, and that's in another policy, but it wasn't in this policy, so it's just aligning those two policies together. Policy and regulation 3165, that one had been reviewed by DESE, and they wanted a line added in there that said, and this is from MCE, they didn't come to each of our individual districts and look at that policy, they just looked at the MCE policy. They wanted a sentence added in there that anything, before purchasing anything exceeding $25,000, we have to check the federally maintained excluded parties list to determine if the prospective vendor is debarred or suspended. So that sentence has been added to that policy and that regulation. Policy 4120, there is now a statement in there that tells us how to report improper use of the Missouri Automated Criminal History site, which is our background check site. So they have told us we have to put a reporting requirement in there and how to do that. So again, the changes are really very minor. You have the new policies in your board folder. The red lines, for those of you who haven't seen them before, that just tells you what was changed. So like in this one, the red line is that sentence was added. So when you see the red lines in those, that's all it means, is that that's what the changes are. And then the actual new policies themselves are listed there as well with the changes already in there. So. Just need to know this.
I move to adopt the following policies and regulations. Policy 0311, policy and regulation 3165, and policy 4120.
I have a motion to approve the policy changes. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second from Mark. Any other discussion?
We can just make those changes now. We don't have to read them a couple
Now, when
times.
they come from an MC or Missouri consultants, you're allowed to adopt them immediately.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if that, I knew there
It's
was,
only if we change the policy ourselves.
that's what I'm getting at.
Something.
Yep.
Customized.
Yeah, once they make it exclude the 3 readings.
Yeah, I knew there was a caveat in there.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0, motion carries. Next on the agenda, I have a resignation from Abigail Sherman, who is our band teacher. Need a motion to accept the resignation.
I'll make a motion to accept Abigail Sherman's resignation.
Motion from Naomi,
Second.
second from Ty. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. I also have a resignation from Jeannie Gordon.
I move to accept Jeannie Broden's resignation.
I have a motion from Mark. Second from Lori. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Motion carries. Moving to announcements. Commencement will be May 16th, 2021. And the next regular meeting will be May 18th, 2021. No other business. I need a motion to adjourn to closed session.
I move to adjourn to closed session.
It's got to be in accordance with the revised statute that's listed there.
With revised statute 610.021,
And then the sections
12.1, 12.2, and 12.3.
and student 06. Have a motion from Mark. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second from Naomi. Roll call vote. Sean?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Ty?
Yes.
Naomi?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Lori? Yes, for me. 7-0. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you folks for coming.